Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Dubs Only Sports. This is episode 8. Before we get into anything, make sure to follow us on all our social medias. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, and we have Twitter. So make sure to follow us there at Dubs Only Sports. And then on YouTube and Spotify, you can find us there by just typing in Dubs Only Sports in the search bar. Follow us on follow us on Spotify, subscribe to us on YouTube. We do a lot of shorts on YouTube as well. So if you don't want to watch the whole video, you just kind of want a 1 minute breakdown of what we were talking about or one of the segments we were talking about, we have those as well on YouTube. But then again, those are the same videos that we upload on Instagram and TikTok. So there are multiple ways you can reach out, multiple ways you can find us, all that fun stuff. We discussed MLB free agency in our last video. Today, we're going to switch over a little bit and we're going to talk about the NBA. We've done one NBA video in the past, just kind of discussing where we thought the teams would be, as we are kind of at we're not halfway through the season, but we are getting there. And Christmas is kind of when teams actually start to play and show up. And Tony Feinbaum, the guy from PTI.
Tony Kornheiser.
Yeah, Kornheiser. I don't know why I say Feinbaum
Oh,
because
fine, fine.
they look alike, bro. I get so confused because they look identical
When you're
to one another.
bald, when
Yeah,
you're bald on the
exactly. The
top, and you
bald
got
and the
the
hair on
side.
the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kornheiser, he has a podcast and he made an interesting point about how the NBA season should literally just start at Christmas and then end at June because nobody really starts playing
No one
until
cares
Christmas
right now.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's we're gonna be talking about the NBA. The first thing I want to get into, and the first thing that I've been seeing a lot of, are these technicals that a lot of players have been getting. For those of you who don't know, technical fouls, I don't know exactly what they are, but it's just basically when you mess up a lot, you get a technical from the ref. It's when you do something that's okay, that is not allowed, you get a tech, you get thrown out the game, right? And that's basically what it
It's
is.
basically for arguing with the referee. That's basically what it's for.
Yeah.
If you do something that's out of bounds, like if you just do something that is not within the within the game flow, and it's not just a common foul, they always call technical foul. It's crazy. So I
And
want you to get into
so
this.
yeah, so I've been seeing players like John Moran and Blake Griffin and Jason Tatum, big names in the NBA, just getting technicals left, right, and center. I say left, right, and center, but Jason Tatum has had two severe technicals. Blake Griffin has had a technical, and John Morant has had a technical, where all three of them in all four occasions where were all ejected from the game right there and then. And the problem that I have with it is that they are ejected for no reason. And I mean, absolutely no reason. The most recent one was the John Morant. And you probably saw this on social media where John Morant was FaceTiming the fan that got him ejected from the game. All he was doing was talking to the fan. And the refs are like, oh, you're talking to me? Tech, bye. And it's but it's not about you, bro. It's not about you.
Exactly.
Take your little minimum wage job, right? Just that you can get a free NBA game. All right. Take that. You're not communicating with the players at all. They do not care about you, especially when you are making horrid calls. They literally will not talk to you. They will ignore you the entire game. I can almost guarantee it because that's what they're taught, right? So these players like Jason Tatum, or I can't remember if it's Jason Tatum or Blake Griffin's thing, but they were getting really angry with some of their teammates for not putting in the right amount of effort in for the competition that they were playing in the certain situation. It was a close game. They had the opportunity to win. It would have been an upset on the sports book. A lot riding on the games. Every win counts. And some of their teammates just weren't performing as hard as they knew they could. They were just they're just trying to hype up their players, get them going, get them in the game, make sure that they're good to go. But of course, the referees, thinking that the world revolves around them and thinking that every time anyone is ever talking, that it is as if they have ears on every corner of the goddamn globe, that they just think that it's all directed towards them. And in reality, the refs rarely talked to, genuinely are never. The only time that they're talked to, it's literally out of respect, and it's to get some clarification on why something happened. And most of the time, the players that do get fouls on and ask for clarification, they call it BS. I've seen multiple LeBron James reactions to some of the things that ref says, and he's just okay, that makes no sense, but whatever, and walks away. And that's literally what every player in the NBA does. Like, they go out of their way not to talk to the refs. So it is just bizarre to me that I'm seeing technical after technical after technical for guys not talking to the refs. Like, the refs, okay, basketball refs and refs across all sports are bad enough as is. Like, to be fair, nobody has ever gotten it right. And it's hard. It is hard. There are people who are better at it than others. But right now, I am just seeing too many separate, it's not just one guy. It's 4 separate people where they mistook the player for talking to them so much to the point that they immediately assumed that, and then without any rational thinking or any critical decision making, just went, "Oh, you're talking to me? Tech, goodbye." And it's like, bro, you have power, but don't abuse it. That's such a douchebag move. Please don't do that. So that's just the problem that I've been seeing with the NBA. I mean, they have been like very like strict on the rules, especially like in recent years. We've seen it like get progressively like I guess like not like less competitive, but it's just like the fouls are just like they really stack up in games to the point where you've got so many players being fouled out nowadays. Where like you know, a few decades ago, it's like rare if you actually saw a player get fouled out, you know. And you look at players like Shaq and like Charles Barkley, who are like genuinely like aggressive dudes in the league, doing stuff that would never be allowed in the league nowadays. And it's just crazy to me how, like, you know, we've evolved in the game so much. But yeah, these technicals are really stupid. They're literally talking to fans or talking to their own teammates and just getting technicals. And the fact that it happened to Jason Tatum twice, not only once, but twice, is just like, okay, like if I was Jason Tatum, I would literally be suing the refs because I just don't care at that point. I just don't care.
No, I totally agree. These NBA referees gotta stop. This is getting out of hand. I mean, they teeing up everyone for absolutely no reason. Like, you have to tee up for someone for like an actual reason. They have to actually do something wrong and actually do something severe and tell you something that's actually like bad in a bad, like really bad, to do something. You can't just like start teeing up everyone for absolutely no reason. Like, I see these guys just running down the court and then like they make a layup or like they hang on the rim too long. I know it's a rule, but like they all the smallest things, like literally they hang on the rim for a second, and it's just to brace themselves so that they don't hit like the ground, they don't hurt their knees. It's just to brace themselves. They get attacked. They're running, they make a layup, they should have got fouled. They say, oh, blah 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 blah, technical. Like, Draymond Green gets like tons of technicals. Half his technicals like should not be technicals. I know he's very passionate, but like some of these technicals that he's getting are insane. I know like Jason Tatum got that crazy tech, John Morant got the crazy tech. I mean, it's just been, these refs have been out of hand, and it's like, it's true. These players, I know players in the NBA a lot are whining to the referees about like foul because they want to get the foul call. I totally understand why the referees feel like agitated, and they have the sense that they need to call like a lot of technicals because they feel like they're always getting attacked. But in this case, like, John Morant is just having fun, just like he's just talking crap to like just he's just trying to get engaged in the game, you know, talk a little crap with the other team, blah blah blah, talking crap to the fans, trying to get them engaged in the game, you know, trying to create a nice competitive atmosphere. And these refs are like, nah, I'm not having it, bro. Technical foul, you're out of the game. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's against my rules. I'm like, it just annoys me when referees in all sports do this kind of stuff where like they try to become the center of attention. The best referees are the ones that you never think about. That's the problem that the referees are always trying to be in the middle and center of attention, but that's not your job. Your job as a referee is to stay out of it. You're not a player. If you wanted to play, then you should have played. You shouldn't be a referee. If you want to,
they did play, bro. They have that season.
They all want to be like Gene Steratore with like the famous thing where like he takes the little index card and then he like sticks it down, bro, and he's like, oh my god, there's space. No, first down. Like, dude, I'm like, dude, these referees are crazy, dude. I don't know what's gotten into them where they're calling all these crazy technical fouls. Like, it's not only that, it's like where you call the second one. It's one thing to call one, but when you call the second one, you're ejected. And also, when you call a certain amount of technical fouls, you can make someone have to get suspended for a game. Like, if there's like rules like 11 and 19, like there's all these different numbers that like if you get a certain amount of technicals throughout the course of the year, you get thrown out of a game. So it's like these referees are like just going off on like the stupidest things. Like, it's true. Like, Jason Tatum was literally talking to, like, not even talking to the referee, he's talking to his own teammate, and he's just getting the technical and getting thrown out. It's just like, oh, it's terrible. These referees need to figure out. I know like a lot of referees are very good, but it's been a trend recently, to say the least.
Like, you know, and I feel like a lot of people are saying, well, maybe like the refs probably just got confused. Like, if the refs and the players are standing like side by side with one another and Jason Tatum is just like yelling in that general direction, maybe he got confused. There's no way he got confused because he not only is directing it at his players, but talking about like how they need to get it together.
they were just saying it in like a strong voice and a loud voice. So the ref's like, oh no, he's showing attitude towards me. Tech out of the game. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
Like they
but
literally
it's also
so
like,
private when it comes to the ref. They are so private with their conversations where to the point where the audience don't even know what they're talking about. All we see is the reactions afterwards. And that's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like
that's the
never
it's
seen
just
anyone yell at a ref like that.
it's not like blatant like just f you. It's like it's just I don't. It's like they're just trying to hype up their team. Sometimes they get
Yeah.
technical fouls just to hype up their team because they're like they're losing by a lot. They want to go on a run. They want to spark their guys and they talk. They cuss at them, but it's like, dude, that's not a big deal. Like I don't know why the referee is getting involved in that. It's like it's none of your
Mhm.
business. Just let them be. Like I don't know. It's been terrible and like I feel like I don't think it's gonna get fixed, but hopefully it gets minimized. It doesn't impact the big game because yeah, I think it's a little crazy right now.
The refs are always gonna be like that. But
Yeah.
we are approaching the middle of the season, which means NBA All-Star time. And we have comprised our starting lineups for both the East and the West. The way it works in the NBA All-Star is you have three front court players and then two guard players for the Eastern Conference and for the Western Conference. Obviously, they're going to be subs and all that, but all we really care about are the 10 starters, and that's it. So, what do you want to start, East or West? Do you want to do a certain position first? What do you want
Yeah,
to do?
I'll start with the East. So my All-Star roster for the 2023 All-Star game for the NBA is going to be uh for the East is Donovan Mitchell and Jaylen Brown at guard for
Hmm.
the two backcourt positions, and then Jason Tatum, Giannis, and Joel Embiid as the front court players.
Okay.
How about you?
I do have some of the things. I have oh my God, and my screen disappears. I have Donovan Mitchell, I've got Jason Tatum, I've got Giannis, three core players in the East right now, absolutely carrying their teams and where they are. But for my guard, I have a different guard, I have a different front court. For my guard, I like the way Trae Young has played this year. I'll be honest. He's a very deep shooter.
Uh,
I really like that about. I really liked him when he was in college as well. So I feel like that kind of feeds into it. And then on my front court, very like controversial, but I feel like he's not like entirely bad. It's just like injury keeps him from the game for so long. But I have Kevin Durant on my front court. Kevin Durant is just like one of those guys, like you either love him or you hate him. For me, like I like his play style, I like his dynamic, and especially this year with the Nets. I mean, the Nets like a few days ago scored like 90 points in the first half and finished with like
against the Warriors, yeah, yeah, yeah,
143. It was something
yeah.
crazy like that. So yeah, I just like the way that the Nets have been playing. I feel like Durant has been like a huge part of that. Even when he's off the court, he's there for his team. He's there supporting them. I feel like that's a really big team and like just like it's an all-star mentality. I feel like at the end of the day, that's what you have to think about. Like these are all stars, not necessarily like the best players in their respective positions, but just the guys with the right mentality, the guys who've got the stuff as well. So yeah, my five: Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, Giannis, Tatum, Kevin Durant. Those are my
Yeah,
five for these.
I agree with. I mean, Kevin Durant is like probably one of the top five players in basketball, but I wish that the way they did this voting, I wish they had like it didn't really matter position because like I would definitely start Kevin Durant over Jaylen Brown. I know Jaylen Brown has had an
Yeah,
amazing year, but like Jaylen Brown, I know that Kevin Durant is not really considered a backcourt player, but he plays like a backcourt player. I mean, he like is
exactly.
on ball, like he can do the exact same thing. So I my top five candidates for the Eastern Conference are probably Tatum, Durant, Mitchell, Giannis, and Embiid because like that's
Yeah.
just I feel like those are like five of the best players, four of the best players with and then Donovan Mitchell has had an amazing year with the Cavs, and that team is good. I mean, the Cavs kind of like,
Surprising, especially for what they were last year. It's actually
yeah,
been
like
crazy how much like Donovan Mitchell has like turned the team around.
they're a three seed right now. They have like their starting five. Four of their starting five are just like really, really solid players. They have Mobley, they have Allen, they have Donovan Mitchell, and then Darius Garland. That's a solid team. So yeah, I mean, I really like the Cavs and I like what Mitchell's done. So I feel like Mitchell deserves to be an all-star. I just like
Mhm.
what the Celtics. The Celtics have kind of like had a good year. I know right now the Bucks took over the one seed in the East, but I just like the way that Brown and Tatum are playing,
Yeah.
especially Tatum. Tatum's having like an MVP caliber season. He probably won't win it, but he's having like an MVP caliber season. And then Giannis is Giannis, probably like arguably the top player in basketball, probably one or two according to most people. And then Embiid is always in that conversation. I
Yeah.
have some doubts about him, especially in the playoffs, and just like the way he fits into that team. I don't feel like the team utilizes him correctly. But
Yeah.
of course, Embiid is a stud. So that's my five for the East.
Yeah, I would like, if there's a fourth front court player that I could have in there, I would definitely have Embiid. It was really a choice between Durant over Embiid, but for me, I'm more of an experienced guy. If you have the experience, I'm going to take that over anything else. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad, as long as you have the experience. I feel like that automatically at least makes you skilled in the mindset, not necessarily like your physical skills, but your mind is there. You've been here before, you know what's going on, you know what to expect. And I just feel like, Joel Embiid, he's had so many playoff appearances. He's had so many playoff appearances, and they've all been like complete duds, especially for like,
Yeah.
you look at like the Sixers teams over the year, and especially now that they have like James Harden, it's like there have been so many separate Sixers teams with Embiid involved where they could have like done something. And
And they
you
just
even look
didn't.
at players like Ben Simmons. Like Ben Simmons, not the greatest player. James Harden, not the greatest player, but they are still players that have the mentality and the caliber to go out and win an NBA Finals. So that's why
Yeah.
Embiid is just kind of like one of those guys. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but for my All-Star selection, I'm going to put Durant in over Embiid.
And then what about for the West?
So for the West, my two guards, I feel like, it's obvious. I mean, maybe not as obvious, but my favorite two guards in the West right now. The Western Conference is probably my favorite conference right now, just because of all the
Yeah.
players that I'm seeing. But my two guards, Steph Curry, John Morant, and then
Wait. Okay. Wait. No.
my
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
my three front court are Zion Williamson, Jokic, and Anthony Davis.
Okay. Okay.
My
I
front
don't
court
know.
is very
Your
like
front.
standard, but my
How do
my
you not?
my guard.
How do you not have Luka Doncic and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in your All Star team? How do you not have those two guys in your All Star team right now?
I mean, I've been seeing the way that like the Mavs play, and I just look at the fact that like Luka is only good on the Mavs. I feel like the
Oh my God. You just said that Luka is only good on the Mavs. Luka's a top five player in basketball right now.
I don't doubt that. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not saying that he's not. But I just feel like, I feel like you could take a guy like Steph Curry, put him on any team, and he's going to be a good player. You could take a guy like John Morant. You could take a guy like John Morant, put him on any team,
that's
and he'd be
different.
a
That's
good player.
different. Okay,
But
but Luka would
Luca,
be a good player on every team. So it's not like a
I don't think
he
so.
wouldn't be you don't
I
think he'd be a
think
good
that
player on every team? You don't think
I
he'd be a
think
good
that
player?
no, I think that Luca,
Oh my God. There's no
you
way
put
you're
him in
saying this,
certain
bro.
situations. I feel like if Luca is playing with, if he's playing with someone like a LeBron James or a James Harden or a Kevin Durant, I feel like if you match him, if you
I
pair
think Kevin
those
Durant would
two
be
together,
amazing. Amazing.
I don't
The
think
problem
so.
would be the problem would be if you put him and LeBron and him and James Harden, they're both ball dominant. So that
Yeah.
would be a problem. I agree with you. The reason that Steph Curry is the one of the best players in basketball and one of the most adaptable players in basketball is that he is not an on he doesn't need to be on the ball the whole time. He moves
Yeah.
without the basketball and he doesn't need
Mhm.
to have the ball the whole time. That's why that offense is so hard to guard because Steph Curry doesn't just dribble the ball for 30 seconds and then just chuck it up.
Yeah.
Okay, he moves around, he passes it to Clay. Draymond kind of like stays at the top and just distributes. It's Steph Curry can move without the ball, cut. He's probably one of the
Mhm.
best cutters in basketball. He moves around constantly. He runs like the most in the NBA. That's the reason that Steph Curry can go and play well on every single team. I agree in the sense that Luka Doncic wouldn't be as good on other teams or pad his stats as much, but Luka
Mhm.
Doncic is definitely a top five player in the NBA.
He is. He is a top five player in
I
the NBA. Don't get me wrong, but I think John Morant and Steph Curry are better than him, respectively. I feel like
That's
Steph
ridiculous.
Curry.
That's
I feel
insane.
like Stephen Curry, and especially you look at the Warriors season so far,
John
and it
Morant,
has
John
not been
Morant,
great.
Steph Curry is definitely Steph Curry. You can't say that he's not better than Doncic because he's won 4 championships and he just won a championship last year. So of
Yeah,
course Steph Curry. One thing is that Steph Curry just got injured and hurt his shoulder. The other thing
yeah.
is that Luka Doncic is definitely better than John Morant. I know John Morant is an absolute stud, absolute stud. I love John Morant, but Luka Doncic is a clear top five player in basketball, and John Morant is in the range from 5 to like 12. He's an
I just
amazing player. If he just doesn't shoot at a high enough clip, his athleticism is the best in basketball. He
uh-huh.
leads that team. He leads that team as like one of the best leaders in basketball. He leads a team that is not doesn't have the best all around players, but that team wins games. He's an amazing player. Like he's one of the best players in basketball. They're just I think that Doncic his finishing ability, he's not as athletic, but his finishing ability is like amazing.
Yeah. I just feel like, like the only reason why the Grizzlies are like relevant is because of
That's
John
true.
Morant.
No,
Whereas
he's a
like Luke,
showstopper. He's a total show.
yeah,
Like he just
yeah,
he changes everything. He's like the best performer. Like if you do it on like style points, John
yes,
Morant sells you tickets. He is box
exactly.
office.
Exactly. But like
Yeah.
for someone like Luca, I just feel like he had like the resources like that he has, yes, are limited, like the Grizzlies are, but he has like, he has already had like a like in the past, he was kind of like brought up, especially through Dallas's franchise. And I just feel like, I'm not saying that Luka Doncic isn't a good player. He is a good player. I know that. And he's definitely
He was
probably
good in
one of the
Spain. He was good in Spain. He was playing professional basketball since he was 15, and he was like
yeah,
the best player in that league since he was 15.
yes,
Then he comes to the
yes,
NBA. He's taken, I think, third overall, which was a terrible mistake by the Suns, who had the first overall pick, and I forgot who had the second pick that year, but they
yeah.
both passed up on him. They let him go third. He's definitely the best player in that class.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, Luka Doncic is an absolute stud. I know everyone's gonna say he's not as athletic, but he took that team that they had last year with him as the only star player. I know Jalen Brunson's
Yes.
really good. He's not a star player. He's very
Yeah.
good. He's a really good player, but
Yeah.
he took that team to the Western Conference Finals. They beat the Suns last year. The Suns won 64 games,
Yeah.
and he beat that team with the Mavericks. It was basically him and then a bunch of role players
Yeah,
besides Jalen
exactly.
Brunson, a bunch of role players. And he took that team to the Western Conference Finals against a team with DeAndre Ayton, CP3, and Devin Booker. So like he's an absolute stud. I don't know how you don't have him. And then Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, breakout season. I know he's on the Thunder, and everyone's gonna say, "Oh, well, the Thunder aren't as good as everyone else." Blah 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 blah. He's having a stud season. I feel like he should be rewarded for that. I'm not saying he's as good as Steph Curry or as good as John Morant, but he deserves to
Yes.
be recognized for the season that he's had. And I
Yes.
feel like that's one thing. He's averaging 30. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
You literally on social media, you see him every day just popping off in the stat sheet. I mean, I know it's not all about stats, but like considering that Steph Curry is hurt and John Morant has having a good year, but like his team is good, but like he's just doing the same thing that he always does. He's just a stud player that's just doing what he does. I feel like Shea is doing something that he like hasn't ever done before. I feel like he's like just taking his games to new levels. I think Shea should get rewarded for that.
Yeah. And then what's your front court again?
My front court is AD, LeBron, and Zion. So
Okay.
it's very similar to yours. I feel like AD honestly would be an MVP candidate if he didn't get injured right now. And now he's injured. He's out for 7 to 10 days with a
Yeah,
foot
exactly.
injury, and he's going to get reevaluated. But the problem is that AD is never going to win an MVP because he's always going to be hurt for at least 20 games a year. But when he's on
Hmm.
the court, he's an absolute stud. I mean, that guy was dropping like 48 to 50 points in like consecutive games. I mean, just dominating the game. His defense is amazing, just like blocking shots, clogging up the paint. He doesn't move as well side to side because of all the injuries, but like he still finds a way to just be in the right location and just block a ton of shots and pose a lot of problems for the other offense. And then
Hmm.
LeBron's LeBron. I mean, the NBA All-Star game is basically the LeBron Invitational, so LeBron has to be there.
Yeah.
And then Zion is having an absolutely amazing year. Coming back from the offseason, everyone was talking bad about him because he was out of shape. They saw the videos of him. They said he's like totally fat, blah, 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 overweight,
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
on and on and on. Got in shape. He's showing why he was drafted as the number one overall pick in that draft. I know John Morant has had a better career in the NBA so far because he's been healthy, but Zion Williamson is
Like we
a
finally
one of
seen the
one talent.
potential. We finally
his
seen the
ta-
potential.
his potential is like crazy. I know he doesn't shoot as well as a lot of players, but his athleticism, being 6'6", but so big that he causes such a problem in the paint, is like unseen. I mean, he's not that tall. He's 6'6", and he's
Yeah.
literally literally almost can act as a center. I mean, he causes so much problems for anyone in the paint because he's just so massive and so athletic. I mean, he jumps like John Morant, but he weighs 100 pounds more than John Morant.
Yeah.
So it's like he's a freak athlete. I mean, he's basically like a LeBron James level athlete, and his field goal percentage, he shoots like 60%. Because I know he
Yeah.
shoots a lot of layups, but he's so efficient. He scores 25 a night. That team has struggled recently. They've lost like their last 4 games, I think, but he's put them in a really good position. I think they're top three right now in the West. Yeah, they're third right now in the West, half a game back of the Grizzlies and the Nuggets. He's having an amazing year. So I think that my three front court players are pretty clearly Davis, James, and Williamson. I know everyone's gonna say Jokic because he always has a good year, but Jokic,
Yeah, that's who I
I know
have.
I know that they're the 1 seed, and I know that I really like the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are like a sleeper title contender because Jamal
Yeah.
Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Jokic, of course, and
Mhm.
showing how good they are to make the playoffs every year and compete in the playoffs with only Jokic when Jamal and MPJ were hurt. But I just think that if you look at it right now, AD was better than Jokic in the bubble when they beat them in the playoffs, and his ceiling is higher. I know Jokic is a more consistent player and better overall because he's more consistent. He plays all his games, he's never injured. But Anthony Davis's peak performance is better than Jokic. And then LeBron James, LeBron, no discussion there. I know he's older, but it's still LeBron James. And then Zion, I just feel like is having a breakout year considering he's back from all the injuries. I feel like he just deserves the nod. I mean, Jokic will still make the All-Star team. I'm not gonna have him in my starting five.
Yeah, I feel like that Western front court. I mean, like we've been pointing it out. Like Anthony Davis is like all like despite the injuries, he's having a stellar year. Zion Williamson coming back from his like atrocious injury, finally coming back, giving the fans like what they've expected since he got drafted first pick. But like other than that, I feel like you look at like everyone else, you look at the guards, you not the guards, you look at the centers, and you really go like, huh, like they're all kind of like they all kind of match up like pretty evenly. Like you look at like the top 10 that was in that voting class, and you kind of go, yeah, like I could see any one of these people actually like getting voted in because they're just like they're just a group of just like good like athletes.
Yeah.
They know how to make opportunities. I mean, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what they're there for. They're either there to like score buckets or they're there to like get the assists to the sharpshooters and to the guys that can go on the edges and shoot as well. So yeah, the front court for me was the Western front court for me was probably the hardest out of all of them. The other ones seemed pretty obvious. I know my Steph Curry, John Morant thing is like rare, very controversial, but I just like the two players a lot. I like Steph Curry. I also like the Warriors winning the finals this year, so I feel like there is a little bias in that.
You still like them winning the finals
Still, I
after
still
Steph
like them
Curry's
winning the
hurt.
finals.
They're not even in the play. I mean, I'm telling you, if that team gets healthy, I'm not going to bet against them. But right now, I mean, Steph's out with the shoulder injury. They're like reeling. They've lost, I think, like 2 games by like 40
Yeah.
points. I mean,
Hmm.
they're just getting absolutely just housed. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, the West is kind of difficult, but yeah, I mean, the
Yeah, the
Warriors are the
Eastern.
Warriors.
I mean, as we've seen in this, like the Eastern, we basically had like the same pick besides like two,
Yeah,
and then on the
yeah.
front court, it was kind of the same, but it was
But I feel
more
like
controversial.
there's a clear separation between the top five in each conference and then like the rest of
Yeah,
the guys with the top 6 or 7 in each conference, and then there's a drop off.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
you look in the West even, and it's like John Morant and Steph Curry, and then Shea and Luca are like the top four, and then there's a big drop off. And then
Yeah,
like the front
exactly.
court players, it's like Zion, Jokic, AD, and LeBron, and then there's a big drop off. So it's just I feel like
Yeah.
the top guys are pretty clear cut, but then it
Mhm.
goes kind of and I don't know.
I mean, we still got a ways away until the All-Star voting. All-Star voting has opened up already. You can get to it at vote.nba.com. We're not sponsored at all. It's just, if you want to go cast your vote, go for it. You can find it on that website. So yeah, when it like NBA All-Star game is like what, January? Like end of January, beginning of
I
February?
think voting ends in January, like January 22nd. I think that's when voting
Yeah,
ends, but I think the game might be a little later. I'm not sure. I think they have
like
to do like the
March.
first. It might be February. I think it might. Let's look it up.
Yeah, look it up. The thing I don't get is that it's in Utah. Like, what the hell is in Utah?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
It's mid-February. It's February 19th. So yeah, it's
Okay.
mid-February. Yeah, I don't know why it's in Utah, but that is what it is. But
I
hopefully
guess
it's a good game.
they
Are
have to
they
give
doing this
everyone a
year?
shot.
I guess, yeah. Like I remember the last few years, it's been like two captains, and
Yeah,
then I vote for. I think this is like the voting to pick the players, and then they do the vote. I don't know.
I'd
I
like
don't
to
really
assume
care.
so.
I like to just watch the game. It's fun. I want John Morant to participate in the dunk contest. I know he probably won't because of like the injury
Yes,
potential. But if
yes.
John Morant and Zion participate in the dunk contest,
Oh,
oh my
that's
God!
gonna
Because
be so sick.
last year's dunk contest was terrible, and I feel like
Yeah.
we need a rebound from that. We need like a Zach Levine, Aaron Gordon kind of year
That's what I'm saying. I genuinely think that we have not had a decent dunk contest
since
since that
then.
Zach Levine,
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon. And even that was like very controversial. Like there were some dunks that
Yes.
did not get the points that they should have. And
Yeah.
having like guys like Dwayne Wade as like the judges
Oh,
for this stuff is
judges are hilarious,
honestly
bro.
the worst thing possible because Dwayne Wade was never like a dunk guy. So how
No,
the hell
no.
are you going to be the one? I mean, you look at the most
It's
like
funny though. It's just funny though. Like that's how they do it. It's just like it just kind of adds to the drama. It's like these guys that are like they know what they're saying, but like they're just kind of like there to just like have fun. You know, it's not like that serious, but then it's serious in the sense that like whoever wins is kind of a big deal. But it's just the whole experience is funny. I just feel
Yeah,
like it's been kind of a letdown recently with like last year was terrible. I mean, some of the they like
yeah,
couldn't make any of their dunks. They were just like dunking. I'm like anyone could do your dunk, bro. Like
exactly. I mean, the most ironic thing about Dwayne Wade is that probably the most influential and most important dunk that he assisted, he wasn't even looking at. Like, to be
yeah,
fair.
exactly, exactly. It's the LeBron James. Yeah, yep.
So yeah, like, I don't get why but whatever. Make sure to go watch the All-Star. You said it was what, February 17th?
19th.
19th, February 19th, All-Star, NBA All-Star game. Make sure to cast in your votes at least like 2 weeks before that, because they're going to want to count all that. But yeah, it's open now. Again, it's at vote.nba.com. That's going to be doing it for us. Next episode, we're going to be diving into Premier League. Premier League, for those of you who don't know what that is, I've got hair in my face. The Premier League is English soccer. We cover it. It's just because of the World Cup.
We cover
like
everything. We
we cover
cover
everything. To be
everything.
fair, we cover everything, but because of the World Cup, the Premier League has been on a bit of a halt. So next episode, make sure to catch that. We'll, definitely controversial between the two of us, and you'll understand why in that video. But until then, we'll just give you a little tease right now and see if you guys are actually interested when it comes out. But that's going to do it for us right now. Again, make sure to go check out our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Dubs Only Sports. And then our podcast and our YouTube can be found by looking in the search bar, just typing in Dubs Only Sports. Make sure to subscribe and follow us there as well. Yeah, that's going to be it for episode 8. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace out.